Welcome to Local Living Tri-City, your go-to podcast for exploring the vibrant communities of Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee. Join me, Liz Jones, as we dive into real estate insights and local business stories, bringing you closer to the heart of our Tri-City area. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to our newest episode for Local Living Tri-City. Today we're going to discover a little bit more about this area. For those of you who are not aware, I actually have been living in this area since 2001. It was quite happenstance that I came to live here. I was taking a job in San Diego. I could not afford San Diego living. I was a single mom, and I figured, okay, go where you can afford. And so I scheduled a time to come up here with a real estate agent, and we toured around, and by the end of the day, I had fallen in love, put in an offer, and here I was. The Temecula area was kind of an accident. I had picked up one of those real estate brochures that you get in supermarkets that showed you all these houses. Back then, the internet wasn't so crazy. And on the back of it was an ad for a real estate agent in Temecula area. So that's how I discovered Temecula. I hadn't a clue about it. But, fast forward 21 years later, and I can be a resource for you. So let me tell you a little bit about our area. I call it the Tri-City area. And in essence, there's more than 5 different cities that kind of make up our demographic. For those of you that don't know, Temecula is the main hub. Everyone talks about Temecula, and we'll go through the population and things like that. But Temecula is where everybody thinks about. It's the key word that comes out of your mouth. Behind that is Murrieta. In all honesty, it's overshadowed. It's more of a bedroom community. They don't actually host the wineries, but Murrieta is where I chose to live. It is a beautiful, safe place that we can talk more about in a short time. Adjacent to Murrieta is Wildomar, and it's more rural. It's changing a little bit now, but it's been known for its rural nature. It's on the foothills of the Santa Rosa Plateaus, and it's a small city. It sprawls to the east of the freeway also, but primarily it's on the west side of the freeway of the Highway 15. Adjacent to that is Lake Elsinore, and it's best known for the Lake Elsinore storm and the beautiful Lake Elsinore itself, and that's kind of fun to see. Adjacent to that is Menifee. So Menifee is where my daughter lives and my grandkids live, and they just absolutely love it. When you head south, you run into Temecula, which is kind of landlocked right now. We'll talk about that as well. There's not a lot more land to grow this city, so we're capped out at that 120,000 people. And then it goes into Winchester and beyond. When we talk about Tri-City, just imagine we have all those components, and we could throw in Canyon Lake for that matter. That's a fun anomaly. Let's talk about Temecula today. Temecula really wants to preserve its historic qualities. It goes back into 900 AD when there were some natives that were living here, but primarily there was an Indian population, an American Indian population that lived here. And that grew into a settler. There was a padre that came in here, and a Franciscan padre. And soon it became a local place for passing through for the farmers, for the settlers. And we have preserved here in Temecula a lot of that flavor. So you can go down into Old Town and you'll see the historic buildings. And we really like that about Temecula. In fact, I was looking at an old movie that was brought to my attention, and it's interesting. They mentioned the town Temecula probably 27 times inside that old movie, but it was kind of clever. So Temecula is known for its wine country. We have almost 50 wineries now, and it's a hot spot on weekends. You can go hot air ballooning. I rented a sidecar and got tootled around after going to winery. That's kind of fun. You can go horseback riding. There's some neat things like Pechanga Casino. It's fun. There's concerts there. There's comedians there. There's gambling there. There's great restaurants there. We've got several museums here, the Temecula Museum, Temecula Valley Museum, and just lots of fun things to do. The average age in Temecula, interesting enough, is only 36. So you're talking about a couple with a young family, an average age of 36. My own kids are 36, 37. And again, they want to focus on preserving the historic quality of this town. Our demographics are a little bit different. So we have a demographic of about 50% white, 20% Hispanic, 11% Asian, and some other population. As I mentioned, Temecula isn't making any more land. We have built out that area in Temecula very, very well, backing right up to the freeway. We have Duluth that is on the hillside. It's the west side of our freeway. Outside of what you see is in the industrial area of Temecula, which is a lot of the commercial properties that are owned. Then you go up into the hillside and you'll see that there are some beautiful old ancient oaks, avocado farms, these beautiful sprawling single-family residence on 5 acres plus. And it's cooler up there. You get the sea breezes up there. You get great views of our city of Temecula, which is more of a valley flat. And that's one reason why our grape grows so well. The sea breezes come down over those mountains and stretch over the valley. And it's really awesome for our grape. More east in Temecula, you will find the ranches. These are the typical horse ranches, more rolling rock croppings and things like that. You'll find more single family out there as well. And it's a beautiful, interesting place. But they're not building any more land out there for us. Until things change, people that don't get inside Temecula find themselves living just outside of the city walls. And that's where you find a rollover into places like Murrieta. So let's talk a little bit Murrieta. I know I've deeply become involved there because I live there. And I can tell you from getting involved in the city, we are incredibly safe city. We have our very own police department, our very own fire department, something that the nearby cities do not have. They lean on the county for those things. And to do that is very expensive. So we created something called Measure T, which is 1 penny out of every dollar that goes into the support of our fire and safety, our roads and things like that. As a result, the town is beautiful. It's super safe and it's well kept. And we have a very active local government council that really understands that people move there for these things. And so you'll find that as you go to Murrieta, that you will see the neighborhoods are protected, the roads are in good condition, the businesses that the chamber brings in, that the city brings in, they work very hard to get the best of the best. The Trader Joe's, the Costco's, what we love about our city, which is the clean roads and the schools and the safety. I would say the average age is probably just slightly higher than the 36, maybe leaning towards 40, 45. And we've got a vibrant Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber has been there for us, growing and bringing people together, building lots of activities for businesses to grow, trying to go out into far-reaching, whether it's Northern California, and bring in technology, bring in the sciences, bring in hospitals. Between this Tri-City area, we have 4 hospitals, and they're excellent. Temecula was voted one of the best hospitals in all of California. So for those of you that's an aging population or have health issues, this is a very safe place. The population of Murrieta is 112,000. It's kind of competing with what you see in Temecula, and there's still room to grow. So most of the growth for Murrieta will far reach into the east. We have a lot of land there, and we're starting to see development out there. We have Spencer's Crossing, which was one of our newer developments in the last 8 to 10 years, and that is still stretching. So we're still seeing growth out there. The demographics are a little higher in a white population. We're at 58%, 8% Asian, and 30% Hispanic and other. So things to do. There's a lot of things to do over in Murrieta. It's a little different. Obviously, we are so close. We're 5 miles, to get into Temecula and do the Temecula things. But let's say you want to stay in Murrieta. One of our newest attractions here in Murrieta is the world-renowned Murrieta Hot Springs Resort. I think natural springs, healing powers. This was incredibly popular in the 1920s for the healing springs, the bubbling springs from underground with healing properties. And Over time, the grounds had deteriorated. It wasn't as popular to go to, and we had a large investor come in from the middle of the country, pour time and money into this, and now it is a world-class event, a place where we have conventions, we have incredible spas, you can stay there, the fine restaurants. It is really becoming one of the city center icons. For those of you that have little ins, I like to go to Mulligan's, which is a family fun zone. Think go-karts, think baseball, hitting batting cages, think fun skee ball and lots of fun things to earn tickets. It's a good place to bring the little ins. We have the Cal Oaks Sports Park, which is great for our concerts, which is also great for our Father's Day car shows. It's obviously for sports and good stuff. How about the Santa Rosa Plateau? We have an incredible series of concerts that go on in the summer. And when we're not doing concerts up there, you can take tours. So there's incredible paths that go out to some of our historic buildings, and you can bring your pets. You can take walks. It's nice and cool up there. You have the vernal pools that are up there, as you can see water sitting that are there. It's enjoyable, pleasant. It's at our plateau right above our La Cresta area, which is one of the neighborhoods that we have in the Murrieta area. It's incredible. Behind City Hall in Murrieta, you have concerts in the park, and they built this incredible amphitheater on this beautiful land. And right behind there, they are hosting both paid and free concerts. Last weekend, they had a free concert, and people came out from everywhere. You threw out your chairs, your lawn chairs, and enjoyed a concert under the stars. They have done market nights in Old Town that's really charming to do. This is a smaller Old Town, much smaller than the one you see out in Temecula that has lots of nightlife. But this is more of an intimate, small venue. So we have lots of local restaurants there that are fun. I go out to breakfast over there, some great coffee shops down there. And in addition to that, they do a market night study, which is twice a month. They do that when you can get fresh foods and vegetables and artisans. One of the reasons I came to California was to get in front of art. So I'm just delighted that I get to see artists and participate here. One of the most beautiful displays in Murrieta is hosted by the Murrieta Rotary Club, and that is the Field of Honor. So each Veterans Day, we do both a parade in the park and a display of more than, over 2,000 flags to commemorate all those people who have served. You can actually sponsor a flag in the name of someone you love and someone who has served or someone who has gone. We also have flags to honor our heroes out there. And the parade is set up where the entire community comes together, and schools and veterans, and we honor our veterans there. We have our city officials there. And it's just a beautiful, moving display of the service that our men and women have done for us. So that we can't miss that. That's each Veterans Day. Let's talk a little bit about Menifee. Menifee is, when I first came here, Menifee was like, where? Now Menifee has really hit the ground running. So my kiddos live there with their little ones. Before that, my other daughter lived in Menifee before she moved up north. The neighborhoods have been fast growing and beautiful and really displaying the qualities that you want to see in a vibrant, growing community. So Menifee is one of the fastest growing cities in all of Southern California. We have, I think there's almost 116,000. When I told you about Murrieta, it was only 112. Here's Menifee coming from behind and now at 116 and lots of room for growth. They are actively building homes. So you will see when we talk a little bit about values and growth that Menifee is a great value for your dollar. And they're doing some fun things. Let's see, the demographics are a little bit different. The white demographic is 52%. Hispanic is at 40%. Our population, I told you, is 116,000. And it's scheduled to be 127,000 by 2027. I didn't know this, but it's one of the safest cities in Southern California. Did not know that. And they are still using Riverside County Sheriff's Department. That just goes to show you bedroom communities, people really moving in, caring about their community. It brings safety. Their schools are catching up. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're building new schools. We got new people moving in. They're not rated as high as Temecula and Murrieta, but we'll talk about that separately. Some things to do. There is the Southern California Railway Museum. There are something fun to do. The Paris Raceway is right over there. You've got lots of great shopping. They're bringing in super shops everywhere. They've got Drop Zone Water Park. Been there yet? I need to take my kiddos there. Nearby in Lake Elsinore is a Storm Stadium. So if you like farm baseball, I like farm baseball. I was there last week. It is a fun time. They make it an incredibly exciting experience for people. It's cheap. It's easy. You get great food. It's a fun place to go with your family any night of the week. So that's great. Let's segue into what kind of neighborhoods you might want to move into in some of these cities. I definitely have my favorites. As a realtor, I have been through all of these communities, and what I'm sharing with you are my favorites. And I know what people consistently ask for. Let's talk about Murrieta for a minute. So Murrieta had a very large development, again, about 8 to 10 years ago called Spencer's Crossing. It's east of the freeway. It's incredibly easy to get to through several of the cross corridors. You are a little further east. So if you have a commute to San Diego, it's probably not the best use of your time. But as far as value, communities, sports parks, schools, it's an awesome place. And so that would be one. Greer Ranch, a gated community, very centrally located between the 215 and the 15, and a great community built in the late 2000s. I think it's worth investigating for you. It's safe. It's beautiful. They have community pools. The whole community is a tight safety issue. Bear Creek, it's where I live. I love Bear Creek. If you're coming to town, I'm going to tell you to move into Bear Creek. Let's say it's made up of condos, townhomes, patio homes, and custom homes. There's even a semi-custom homes. The pricing for Bear Creek is somewhere between $700,000 and up. And you can spend $2.6 million there if you really want to. I feel like that's the one place that I can get away from things. I mean, it's got a championship golf course. It's got oaks that are over 200 years old. It's got space. Everybody's on larger lots. It's refreshing. There's water. There's lakes in there. It's my home place. And so I'm going to tell you and probably lead you to Bear Creek because that's where I live. Copper Canyon Loop, which is just outside Bear Creek. These are fun patio homes and single-family residences just outside the Bear Creek off Clinton Keith Road. Great place, great value. How about La Cresta? We talked a little bit about the Santa Rosa Plateau. The Santa Rosa Plateau is just up Clinton Keith Road, and it sits atop the mountains, and you can get the sea breezes from there. But if you head down the valley, you've already hit the Bear Creek, the Copper Canyon, etc. So La Cresta are known for both view lots and horses. So if you are someone who needs a little bit of space, you like elbow room, this is a great spot for you. Rolling hills, great views. It takes a little bit longer to get down the hill and to the supermarkets. So that's a consideration. If you are older and you need hospital, you may not want to be there. You're going to have a different experience driving out of the community at night than you would if you're down the hill. But if you've got a family that's growing, you need elbow room, this is just a fabulous place. Home prices start about $1.1 million and up. So it's really a great spot to think about. Alta Murrieta, which is over off of Murrieta Hot Springs. You're going to see that area. Murrieta Oaks, also great spot that's over by the 215. And if you're looking for a great 55 plus, you have the Four Seasons in Murrieta and you also have the Colony. So both are great. Four Seasons is newer and the Colony is built in the 80s. But it's a super location, central to the freeway, central to the hospitals, and price point is your high fours, low fives, all the way up to the sixes. So it's a great value. If Murrieta is your destination, this is a great spot. All right, let's take a segue over to Temecula for a second. I get more requests for Temecula than any place else, just hands down. And it's because it's the icon, right? So Temecula has some very special locations. A few of them, I'm only going to go hit a few of them because these are the ones that people ask for consistently over and over again. I get a lot of requests for Meadowview. Meadowview is very interesting. It's very rural. It's in the heart of Temecula. Easy to get to the freeway, easy to get to wine country. It's a loop around an open area space, mostly half-acre lots. Some of the houses go back to 1960, and then some of them have been refurbished or newly built around there. You've got some dips and hills, so people are built up on the top of the hills or their backyards are low. They run probably 1 million and up, and not super large homes, but you can have a horse in your backyard on a half an acre. And you can park your RV there if you want to. They have community amenities. People are really liking their convenience to the city, the feeling of being rural, but not being too much tucked out there. So great weather, great temperature over there. Paloma del Sol. So envision a 1980s plan development, all mature landscaping, rolling hills, simple homes, great schools. That's Paloma del Sol. Wolf Creek, that's a community that's right across from Pechanga Resort. Wolf Creek has been really a highlight for a lot of people. It's fairly new, built in the early 2000s, 2005. They had a stall in the middle of that during some of our topsy-turvy economic times. But Wolf Creek has a series of townhomes, patio homes, and also single-family homes. It's a good value. It's convenient. If you have to drive to San Diego, it's a good spot for you to choose. At the same time, so is Red Hawk. Red Hawk has a huge demand. It's older, so it was built in the mid-'80s. Planned communities, several communities within the body of Red Hawk, both gated and ungated. The home prices are average $700 and up. And they've got a champion golf course there and a grill, and it's just a central location. So if you're a San Diego commuter, again, this is a fabulous place for you. Great schools. Harvest Inn. Harvest Inn is right across from our offices here. It's built around a central lake, so you'll often see people walking around the lake. They've got a typical charming patio home or single-family homes. They're clustered very tight, very small lots on an average. But it's charming, it's community-focused. There's a lot of activities, a lot of kids' activities. Anybody who has little-ins really loves this community. It's central to the freeways. There's low taxes in this area because it was established before we started rolling forward a lot of our Mellorews. So there's low taxes. The homes are being well maintained. It's a good price point. You can get in there as low as $700 and you can spend 1.2. It's a great destination. One of our newest phenomena, built by Woodside Homes, is Summers Bend. Now, Summers Bend is a little bit more of a hike down Rancho California Road near Butterfield Stage Road, and is a brand new community. And I mean brand new being in the last 5 years. And Woodside Home has built that out. It's close to wine country. It's kind of buzzword right now. Not much available in new homes. You've got a long waiting list to get in for the new homes. But if you're someone who really likes that contemporary look and you want the convenience of being by wine country and you're okay with the drive, the 10, 15-minute drive from the freeway, it's a great spot. I suspect over time, over the next 3 years, we'll see a lot of resales come up because it's been established for several years. But I know folks that are on a waiting list there for almost 2 years for their lot to be available as Woodside starts to build it out. It's very closed knit. In other words, it's hard to get into, but once you're in there, you may truly love it. My only disadvantage, I personally think the only thing I don't love is they haven't got mature landscaping yet. It seems very sterile to me. And here I am in wine country where I just love the green, and yet the mature landscaping isn't in. It's white building after white building after white building and brown building, and I'm not into that. I love the green. That's the Paloma del Sol thing that I love, the rolling hills and the green. Temecula Hills, a charming older community, a lot of single stories in there built around a golf course. Chardonnay Hills right next door, again, a little older home. But if you're looking for a humble home in Temecula, Temecula and Chardonnay are great spots for that. And then one of the largest areas I get demand for are Morgan Hill and Crown Hill, whether South Temecula, Rolling Hills, most of your prices are 900 and above. They're tract homes, but these tract homes have extraordinary schools. Our schools in Temecula are just bar none. And so many folks want to live right in these communities, so they will focus on it. And we are at the point where we are resales only, no new building going on in Temecula in that area. Why we're talking about schools, let's segue into schools a little bit. I'm going to travel back to the Murrieta School District. I can speak to this because I sit on an advisory council for the superintendent and have friends who serve on the school board. I can tell you their heart, and their heart is for the kids and learning. I've seen the programs they've put in for special needs kids or kids that have aged out that are special needs. They call it Murrieta Summit. And very active school board doing the best for your kiddos. We are constantly improving the schools. I know for a fact that we have, three schools, three different high schools in Murrieta, and all of them are sensational. Some of them are tired because they've been around. One of the things that we know about California, been told about California, is that when there is a need, a financial need, let's say you have a population that has low income or a great financial need in the community, California comes to the rescue and funds those schools for improvements. And they're given big checks. They can pour it into the schools. They can pour it into equipment and teachers. And that's not the case if you are a demographic that normally can pay more in taxes. So our schools here don't see that outside funding from the state of California. We see that funding through PTAs, through fundraising efforts. And over the course of time, there's some great needs. And where sometimes you have growth, you have population growth, like our schools were built out for 80,000 to 100,000 population. And now we have 112, 115,000 in Murrieta. So over that time, if the school's classrooms aren't big enough, they use portables. Well, those portables are now 30 years old. So in replacing those portables, that takes money. It's new build. Where does that money come from? If it's not coming from California, it's coming through our own fundraising efforts. I can tell you that the school board in Murrieta is constantly watching birth rates, future growth rates, the movement, the ebb and flow of development into the area. That's a constant thing happening that will help everyone in the long run improve the schools. Right now, let me see the stats. According to greatschools.org, Murrieta schools average, this is all the public schools, so they're averaging middle school, elementary school, and their high schools. They're averaging a solid 8 on a scale of 10. So, and their diversity and equity is around 8. So that gives you a good sense of what the Murrieta schools are about. Now, I don't have as much inside knowledge about Temecula, but I do know one thing, that anybody who's coming from San Diego, anybody that's coming from Orange County, they're asking for my Temecula schools. The evidence is right here. Greatschools.org is telling them that they are a solid 9 on a scale of 10. And one of the high schools, Great Oak, which is known for its sports, is actually a solid 10 out of 10. Who knows a 10 out of 10 school? At the same time, the test scores are a 9 and diversity and equity is an 8. Okay, let's talk about climate. Okay, right now it is blinking hot. We are dead heat of the summer right now. I'm not going to lie to you. We've had a couple of 112-degree days. This is not typical, and I enjoy opening up windows most of the year. 90% of this year, I open windows at night. I sleep. I'm chilled. Okay, so you don't have to run your air conditioner all the time, but during the summer, you would certainly have to run your air conditioner. We're known for warm, dry summers. Last year, we had a ton of rain in Christmas time. Normally, we're known for about 11 rain days, but we've been having a little change in weather patterns, and I think we had 41 rain days last year, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody check that. But what that does is it fills up our land, our wells, the reservoirs with water, which we desperately need. So that's a good thing. And again, I mentioned to you, we have cool winters over here. So this is a really great place. I wouldn't live anyplace else. Let's talk quickly and we'll wrap the real estate values in a comparison. So, Murrieta, the average price for a home in Murrieta is $673,000. That's up 7% year to date. Just to let you know, through the last couple of years in COVID, we hit more than 28% growth. And that's where our locals are finding it tough with our interest rates still high. These home prices are pretty high. It's tough for everyone to swallow. When I first came to the Valley in 2001, one of these $673,000 homes cost me $210,000. So that's a lot of appreciation over 20 years. So just saying. Let's talk Temecula. That same average home in Temecula is costing $769,000. Yep. So you pay $100,000 more for the label. Okay. Something to think about. Wasn't worth it to me. Nope. I love Temecula, but I live in Murrieta. So just saying. Also up 7% this year. All right. Menifee. Good value. So let's say you're not sure where you want to live. You're coming from Orange County. You don't have to commute out of the area. Menifee is a great option. The schools are catching up, as I mentioned. They're improving all the time. They're probably more of a 7 or 8 right now on greatschools.org versus an 8 or 9. So if you got little ins, this might be a great spot for you because by the time they get into the school system, it's going to be much improved. They're building and they're growing and they're improving. So the average home in Menifee is $589,000. That's a big jump down. And it's 6% over the last year in its growth. The reason why I think that it's not 7%, number one, it's the secondary place that people are looking for. Number two, they're still building a lot of homes. And as they're building a lot of homes, there's more variety to choose from, so it keeps prices low. If you go to Temecula and we're landlocked and we're not building any new homes, guess what? When someone puts one on the market, it goes faster, right? So as you build homes, there's more variety, more choices, and therefore it keeps prices down. So sooner or later, that'll get to the end, but you're also going to see some more growth overall in the Menifee area. And let's briefly touch on a couple of these other cities. Canyon Lake. So we didn't talk anything about Canyon Lake. This is an anomaly. So Canyon Lake is one of, I think, 14 cities, gated cities in the state of California. Once upon a time was just a community, and they decided, probably about 12 years ago, I'm guessing on that one, to incorporate as a city. So there are 4,800 homes inside the city of Canyon Lake, okay? And it's gated. It's got 3 different entrances. And once upon a time, back in the 80s, this used to be a vacation spot, almost like a vacation rental spot, and that you might go out to Havasu, right? And it has a lake in it. Actually, it's several lakes inside. And so people had them as second homes, and then eventually they became primary residents. And the homes are older. Some are in the 70s, some are 80s, some are brand new. And they often will hit multi-levels. So we will often see a house maybe on 2 or 3 levels built on a hillside, and you make your way down the hillside or along stairwell to the water's edge. The water does recede and process, so sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high, so most have floating docks, and it is clustered. As you can imagine, having waterfront, boating water here in this area in the high desert, a lot of people flock to it. So you will often see weekend parties, everybody tying up to boats or going out in the middle of the lake, drinking. There's a little area where you can go skiing. It's a lot of fun for people. They do incredible fireworks every year. Everybody comes out in their golf carts because you can drive the roads in golf carts. If you're into a little party area for your community, I know for a fact many firefighters and police officers love that community and want to hang out there. So that is their home. I imagine it's very safe too. Great location. And the average home prices inside Canyon Lake is about $759,000. Interesting fact. That was up over 15% last year to date. And what's driving that? Number one, we're coming into the hotter months, so people want to be around water. Number two, they're not building any more land inside Canyon Lake. It's closed, right? 4,800 homes, that's it. So if you want to buy in there, you got to pay the price. And that's what's driving that growth. If that's what you're looking for, it's a great location. It's on the north side of the 15 for this Tri-City area. It's a little bit due east They have widened the road, so traffic is not the end of the world. But that's something, and it's central to Menifee, so you can easily get between Murrieta, Wildomar, and Menifee by going through Canyon Lake in that growing area. And there's a couple of great communities just outside that fall in the Menifee area, and that's Audi Murphy, great planned community. I've sold a lot of homes in there. People really love it. And a lot of sports parks, growing schools, growing safety, lots of shopping. They don't have a mall. Temecula is the only place that has a mall, to be honest with you. But I think we all know malls are on the way out, dying. If you wanted to go shop, really shop, I'd probably go over to Orange County or San Diego. In all honesty, we have a mall here. It's got a Macy's, but shopping is different. It's a different experience today, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit about the place that I call home. If you have any questions, I would love for you to, like, subscribe, reach out to us. I'm Liz, and I just want to thank you for chiming in. And next week, we'll be talking a little bit more about the area, and I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous week. You take care. Until the next time.
Thank you for listening to Local Living Tri-City. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, and surrounding areas. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend that is passionate about the Tri-City area as you are. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you next episode.